To create this box joint, you'll need a 1/4 inch box joint template and a 1/4 inch spiral upcut bit or straight bit. Begin by installing the 1/4 inch router bit in your router and the 1/4 inch box joint template on the multi-router. Before we can move on to cutting any of our joints, we'll need to create a spacer out of scrap material that matches the exact diameter of our 1/4 inch router bit. To do this, I'm routing a groove straight down in a square piece of stock that will later act as my fence. With the groove all cut, we can head over to the planer to mill another scrap piece until it reaches your desired thickness. Continue planing until your spacer fits perfectly inside of the groove on your fence piece. So now that we have our spacer block and fence, we can begin setting up the multi-router to create our box joint. Begin by preparing your stock so the width of your material is a multiple of a 1/4 inch. My piece measures 3¼ inches wide. Then mark the thickness of your material away from the front edge of your joining pieces. Next, move the horizontal table forward until there is roughly 1 inch of clearance and lock the table in place. Extend the stylus, leaving about 1/32 of an inch between the end of the stylus and the face of the template. Place the stylus in the first vertical slot on the template and lock the horizontal table's left to right travel in place. Raise the vertical table until the router bit sits just above the surface of the horizontal table. Place your fence piece on the horizontal table with the end flush against the vertical table. Slide your fence over until the left edge is flush against the extreme right edge of your router bit. With everything perfectly aligned, clamp your fence in place. The position of the fence will remain the same for this entire process. Next, raise the vertical table out of the way and clamp your workpiece in place with the right side pressed against the fence and the end pressed against the vertical table. Lastly, adjust the router's depth of cut until the end of the bit is just a hair past your mark. Then snap on the dust cabinet and you're ready to route. Start the router and maneuver the tables so that the stylus enters the first vertical slot. Cut through the board and return the cutter above the stock. Move over to the second slot and repeat across the width of the board. Once one end of your board is cut, unclamp it and flip it over, making sure to keep the same edge pressed up against the fence, and clamp it in place. Repeat the routing process on the other end of your first workpiece. Once one piece is cut on both ends, cut your second piece following the same procedure. With your first set of boards all cut, it's time to cut the mating pieces. But to create the offset, so this time we start with a finger instead of a cut, we're going to use the 1/4 inch spacer block that we made at the beginning of this video. Start by placing the 1/4 inch spacer against the fence. Then press your workpiece up against the spacer and clamp it in place. This time, maneuver the tables so that the stylus enters the second vertical slot. Cut through the board and return the cutter above the stock. Then continue moving over to repeat the process across the entire width of the board. With one side cut, flip the board over just like the last time, making sure to keep the same edge pressed up against the fence. Repeat the routing process on the other end of your workpiece. Then route your fourth and final workpiece following the same steps and you're all finished. In just a few minutes, you have a box joint that comes together perfectly. With the multi-router, you can quickly and easily create flawless box joints that will take your projects to a new level of sophistication and design. In addition to the 1/4 inch box joint template, we also have a 3/8 inch box joint template for any of your larger projects. Just make sure to use a 3/8 inch spiral upcut bit or straight bit in combination with the 3/8 inch box joint template. The multi-router provides you with speed, accuracy, and control to create complex joinery for all your woodworking projects. If you're interested in seeing what else the multi-router can do, then we have a playlist right here for you to check out.